Good timing on the incredibly loud, startling noise, Charles.
That's very well done. You were waiting for those there too, huh?
Cops are doing something. They're hitting
All right.
the siren button in their cars. But Charles, it's almost Christmas.
It's Christmas Eve.
Exactly.
And so hats off. Let's get that art department compliment in.
Oh yeah. Here, wait. I prepared a little for people to see. National Buffoon's Christmas Vacation. We've got Big Stupid Joe getting electrocuted and Kamala Harris looking like somebody looks when they're embarrassed by something their father did, which we're probably going to see a lot of. But thank you, Charles.
Very well done. And we are, that is a depiction in figurative form, of course, of Joe Biden, as was the case of the movie itself, with Chevy Chase and Chevy Chase is still alive.
Correct. We don't want anything bad to happen to Joe Biden, particularly with Kamala Harris as the vice president.
Exactly.
But
how many?
Oh, damn it. That's the really nice microphone hitting the ground for the second time.
How many food tasters did Joe Biden have?
I don't know.
Probably quite a few.
Apparently he was like spitting and drooling during his press conference earlier.
And he probably practiced doing that.
Sneezing. Well, Charles, we have a lot to talk about, and we are, our show has sort of converted into a documentary protest show.
Show this or go that way?
Wherever you want to go.
Yeah, we'll just head up.
People can see the nice Washington Square Park Christmas tree back there, but I thought it would be a good idea for us to start. This is a bit of a late start for us, so it's kind of dark.
All right.
But we are going to join up with the what would you call it? The pro-freedom New York Party?
Yeah, there's a big protest, I gather, against Amazon, which is, I think, richly deserved. I think for late, I guess it starts at 6 midtown, so we'll get there just in time. It's interesting how I think Tulsi Gabbard is, at some level, she's one part appealing and the other part fruitcake when it comes to economics. But her basic thesis, and I think this protest thesis, is that certain companies like Amazon have done very well in the lockdown.
Right.
Amazon basically taking a lot of business away from many small businesses and medium-sized businesses that have been forced to close. And so her harebrained scheme is that somehow Amazon has, quote, excess profits, which she wants to take away.
Is there such a thing as excess profits?
No, there isn't. and which she wants to take those away and, in her imperial wisdom, redistribute those profits to the small and medium-sized businesses. And this is an age-old kooky idea. If Amazon is engaged in monopolistic antitrust practices, then discipline them for that.
Right.
Go up university? Or?
Yeah. No, I agree with what you're saying, Charles. And actually, just real quick, I wanted to talk to you about this before I don't want to digress from Amazon, but as I was walking over here, all restaurants, Charles, now have enclosed completely their outdoor things. And I noticed one of them had, when you go into like when they, in the movie E.T., when they captured E.T. and had him, all the adults realized they had an alien, they set up those tents and they have like those meat locker clear plastic slats, and then you walk through. That's to keep germs out, and they had that on the restaurant thing. So everybody's sitting in there in the virus incubator, and it brought me back to this debate with my new least favorite guy, Dersh, where he's all pro-mask, but the same people who are telling you to wear a mask are telling you to go into those restaurant tents without a mask. I don't understand. None of it makes sense.
Well, I mean, the same people who've been telling you for quite a long time after my childhood that you shouldn't go and play outside are now telling you to go and eat outside.
Right.
in conditions that are actually quite cold.
Yeah, it's
and at
cold.
Least, one of the little tricks I'll give away to how we can get this done is that when you're walking, as we do walk, and not standing still as we stood still at the Union Square protest, you're doing enough exercise to keep warmer, keep the blood flowing, and whatever. But going and sitting, and worse, sitting in a place that has no circulation of air, has no real sanitation standards when it's not being used. You don't know what's going on in there.
I saw one place has set up a call ahead bathroom.
Really? Oh, how
Yeah,
nice.
I was like, what? Out on the street?
Well, you don't need that. not the way New York is up. But anyway,
They don't need it in Penn Station.
but exactly. And then worse than that, you're sitting there, and most people, if you're going to go out at the holiday season, Christmas season, you're going to have a few drinks.
Right.
Drinking and staying out in the cold is not a very good idea.
Get sick that way, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't notice how cold you are.
Yeah. And
And I think alcohol also just reduces your immune system.
I mean, it's all in, not a great move. And here we are starting to see, this is a regular group of people, I think. I've seen them several times here. They come out typically around this time, and they hang out, and more of them hang out, and more of them gather. Yeah, that's the same lady I've seen before. And they get more and more desperate.
Yeah. Well,
Just
this is
that.
going to be a cold night to be out.
It is, and I gather it's going to be even colder on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. We're expecting another storm,
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
apparently.
Now, are you familiar, Charles, with this? There's this like kids bookstore that I walked past on the way over. I forget what it's called, like Wonder something. They have birthday parties in there. I've never been in there, but it's like it's more of a birthday party place. It's closed.
Oh yeah, yeah. So many
But
places.
it's been there
are closed.
forever.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Just-
all this stuff along here.
GGK is out. I think it's either that building or that building, I think, is where Alex Baldwin lives, or maybe it's this one.
Bagel Bob's is still open.
Are you sure?
It says it is.
Well,
But you're right, it's not.
well, it wouldn't be open now.
Well, why not?
Morning, next
5
to
o'clock?
it's gone.
I mean, it's kind of a deli.
Actually, Jason, let's stop here for a second. This store has been here, I think, for quite a while.
Yeah.
These Devonshire Optical Kids. These are the kind of old-fashioned village stores that used to be everywhere when I
Yeah.
was a kid, and now they're just. This building, I think, this is the one that Baldwin's in here, I think, and got a lot of high-priced people in there. This has become a nice neighborhood to live in over here, where as a kid, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't as nice as it is now.
Right. Charles, you've inspired a drinking game I saw in the comments.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, someone says that every time you say, oh, this place used to be this or that,
Gotta
they
take
take a drink. Yeah.
All right, audience. I hope you got a lot of Chardonnay out there or a big vat of vodka ready. So we can play that game.
There's still quite a lot. This used to be D'Agostino's, but now it's
Now, 2 drinks if
something
you do it?
better. Oh, right. Yeah. And
Like that, there's some so-called professor at Washington
this bar is closed,
you know,
Charles.
Washington Lee Law School is advocating that African Americans should get 2 votes
What?
per person.
Why is that? 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 It's funny. I felt a vibration in the.
The force?
Well, no, the stabilizer. And then the audio went out.
Well, it's interesting because there was a shifty-looking guy walk by us just then.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I mean, it could be somebody with a type device, which would check 1 2, check 1 2.
Good.
I can't hear anything. Yeah, now we're back.
All right.
So, I mean, that wouldn't be that difficult to do. Have people just walk around with IMS eye catchers. Here's more restaurant tents,
Yeah, I'm there too.
totally enclosed.
Yeah, I like going to restaurants, or I should say I liked going to restaurants, and I don't mind cold weather particularly, but the thought that I would sit out here, in New York, good restaurants are notorious for having waiters who've mastered the ability to look you directly in the eye and not notice that you're signaling to them. I mean,
Sorry, wait a minute. We're not using the proper microphone. It did sound weird to me. Ah. Okay, now it should be good.
okay. So they miss. So
we're good now.
So to now have the privilege of sitting out here where there's no way the waiter's going to see you in some of these tents.
Right, you could be waiting, right, good point, for a long time.
And here, you're on one hand, you're in a tent, but it's open to the air. I mean, there's no heater that's going to keep you warm in there.
This guy's all bundled up with a hat and everything.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a losing proposition. Now, this is WeWork, it says. This used to be an Italian restaurant that actually had Chelsea Clinton's picture up in it.
No, are you sure?
Wasn't it this?
No, that was the one. Might have been here too, but it was the one that's famous is over on you.
No, that one I know. No, that was it. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
My brother used to like that Italian restaurant. And here's
Japan.
Japonica, not really doing too well.
I mean, it's just you have to be a complete knucklehead to want to go out. I mean, why not? It's a lot more expensive to go to a restaurant if you know how to cook, or even if you can just warm it in a microwave. You know, it's a lot more expensive.
Not the microwave.
Well, whatever. In some
We're not
case.
giving legal advice, medical advice, or cooking advice.
And especially not fashion advice in my case. But you don't have to agree that quickly. But anyway. So, yeah, I mean, it's so much more expensive to do that, and you're just in the comfort of your own home, and you don't have to worry about waiters screwing up your food, or who knows what even worse things could happen. And you're done. You eat, and you're in your house, and you can go to sleep if you want to go to sleep or do whatever.
Now, Charles, not to belabor the point, but I did want to talk a little bit about this Dershowitz interview yesterday, because I went into it really with a very positive and serious outlook. I wanted to ask him these questions because I had presumed, look, I don't need to like somebody's personality to engage with them on that type of a conversation, but I had observed a lot of the things that he'd been saying in other interviews with people that were just wrong.
Yeah.
And he's well known. He writes articles in all, op-eds in the New York Times and whatever,
Right.
Newsmax and everything.
Well,
Wait, that's Lenwich now. That's new.
No, that's been like this. They just remodel it. It's been here.
Ah,
Yeah. Another drink, guys.
sorry. But he obviously was not interested in listening to that. He was spewing out talking points, some of which he had already said in our first interview. So I tried to stop him from doing that. And he's obviously somebody who's not into that. He likes to steamroll and get his message out.
Right.
He didn't actually want to have a conversation.
Well, I watched that today, finally got around to watching it. And my reaction is actually one of sadness. Because at that point, I don't like his politics. I used to admire the way he thought and argued. But I saw a decrepit person thirsting for attention. Something going on with it. Thirsting for attention. And making a jackass out of himself.
I agree with.
To stand up there, I mean, you might have helped him do that a little bit, but I mean, to stand up and say, make those deprecating comments, denigrating comments to you. Careful.
We had a fight going on there.
Let's not get anywhere near this.
That's a serious
Those
fight.
kind of people have guns and knives. It's just not. Let's get away from that.
Okay, anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So for him to stand up there and say, I've been a professor at Harvard for 60 years, and if you think you're smarter than Socrates, and I'll go debate somebody else. I mean, the way he was debating.
He called me an idiot.
To a number of times. And that he should know better than that. I mean, if you're going to say that the way he uses the Socratic method and it's based on Talmudic thinking, and you should know that when you get to the place where you have to attack your opponent, not for his views,
You've lost.
you've lost. He, better than anybody, should have known that. And so I think in hindsight, he's going to actually regret that he behaved that way. You want to go across here? Or?
Yeah. I agree, and thank you for saying that. I mean, it was just so stupid. He also has the dubious distinction, Charles, of being the oldest person I've ever told to F himself.
Today.
Well, this week, right. No, I'm pretty sure he's the oldest that I'm aware of. And I didn't want to do that. I feel very badly. There have been a few times I've had these sort of emotional outbursts, loss of temper on camera, and I don't like that. I regret when that happens.
Well, if you remember, though, when Tucker was migrating up the food chain at Fox, he started out, he was a weekend guest host on Fox and Friends. Then they put him in the 10 o'clock slot. Let's not go in there, let's go. I just remember being surrounded at one point.
Right.
That he got a lot of attention by bringing people on the other side onto his interviews, and then if they made a mistake, he didn't say the F-bomb on Fox, but he just destroyed them. and that catapulted him, I think, to the 9 o'clock slot, and then ultimately to the 8 o'clock slot. He's backed off of doing that kind of stuff in the past, but
Right.
You were engaged in a substantive argument there, and he had a narrative he was trying to sell.
Exactly.
Right. And I think the substantive argument that he had to agree with you on is that that you have an absolute right to make a final decision about your personal health.
Right.
Right. You have that right if you're of sound mind and above the age of 18. But where he, I think, as an English friend of mine liked to say, lost the plot.
Exactly.
Is when he went on this fanciful tour of saying that once you take the benefit of this, quote, vaccine, which he refused to define,
Right.
is that once you take it, you eliminate the potential of being a super spreader, or at least of spreading asymptomatically. And that's just like, okay, maybe. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the virus won't still spread.
Or that the vaccine works that way.
You know, we have not gone up the next one over, which is, what's it called?
This right here?
No, this avenue that goes into
Irving.
Yeah, maybe we should walk up
Sure,
Irving, because
yeah.
we haven't done that. You want to go by Tammany Hall, or you want to go down this way?
Yeah, let's go to Tammany Hall.
Okay.
So, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, Charles. He absolutely had a narrative, and people were like, oh, you interrupted him. I stopped him when he was saying things that he had said in our first interview, because here's what he did. When he was on with David Freiheit, I think they went for about 90 minutes.
Right.
And, you know, David's a lawyer, so I have seen this with other lawyers where they kind of get stars in their eyes when they're talking to Dersh,
Yeah, well,
because they revere him or whatever.
well, he's the Felix Frankfurter Professor of Law, or what he was, emeritus.
Yeah, well, he has other things that resemble a Frankfurter about him. He's a big dick. But what I'm getting at is it was kind of like my crew on the day that we did the thing with Spielberg. You know, everybody was like giddy because we were working with Spielberg. And that's the kind of gravitas
Sure.
that
Oh, of
Dershowitz
course.
has.
Yeah.
So for me, he was like, I only have 20 or 30 minutes. And I was like, okay, fine. I had planned on spending an hour and had spent many hours preparing questions and reviewing the previous interviews that he had done. And then in this limited time, he was putting out all this crap that he had already said on my
Right.
show, already said on other shows. And I was like, knock that off and let's focus on the real problems.
Right.
He's writing articles about masks and why they should be used. I know a guy like that would object to a doctor publishing a legal opinion that had nothing to do with the law, the federal rules of procedure, and just putting out, that's a LaFerrari, I think, Charles.
What is that?
It's just like a $1.5 million insane, it might be a McLaren, I can't really see, but it's a very expensive car. So I just thought he did a terrible job, and the thing I wanted to talk to you about is, you know, when I had that whole suspicion about the CIA Limited Hangout movie that Kevin Shipp was involved in, one of the things I was looking at was the engagement. It very quickly got to 168,000 views.
All right, let's stop for a second,
Yeah.
let her pass. God, for a small person,
Making a lot of noise.
A lot of volume.
It quickly got to 168,000 views, and it had like 90 comments, which was like 1/10 the average engagement. This
Right.
engagement is a very important metric for measuring the performance of a video on YouTube, not because I care about how many views it gets, because I'm trying to monitor the activity of social engineers and how these social media platforms are used for social engineering. And YouTube and other analytics things tell us that the average across the whole entire platform is 0.5%. So for every 1,000 views,
Right.
there should be 5 comments on average.
Right.
And because the topics that we cover are pretty involved and the viewers that watch Crowdsource the Truth are very interested, typical Crowdsource the Truth videos are between 2 and 4 times average engagement, about 10 to 20 comments per 1,000 views. This Dersh video, with me telling him to F himself, had 9.8% engagement,
Wow.
9.85 compared to 0.05. There were 530 comments. 0.05, right? No, 0.5, 0.5%, right? 0.5. I got to multiply it by 0.05.
Yeah.
Yeah, this always spins my head. So, but that's what I wanted to ask you. When we compare that, like, how much of a differential is that? 9.85% engagement versus 0.5% engagement. We had 530 comments for about 5,700 views. Seems like they're suppressing views.
It's a fair conclusion. Now, this is Sal Anthony's was the
Right.
place where Doug Mann threatened them.
To take the picture down.
Yeah,
I thought.
and Sal Anthony said F you. Whoever owned.
So, but that's it. People are outside here having freezing cold dinners.
Yeah, it's nice. Frozen food, Jason. Frozen food.
How is Pete's Tavern doing?
It looks like it's doing well. I like that place.
It looks like it's open, but you can't go inside, right?
Yeah, and this is the building. I kicked myself. I didn't buy I think it was a 3-bedroom for $165 or something like that.
When was that?
1812.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It was like 1983 or 4.
So I'm not sure what to expect at this Jeff Bezos protest, but people can definitely see more enclosed restaurant huts.
Yeah,
And really the point I was trying to get to with Dershowitz is just to underscore that none of the directions that they've been giving us as far as how to mitigate or even just live with this virus make any sense.
right.
Oh, the other thing I wanted to bring to your attention is, have you heard anything about this nurse, Tiffany Dover?
I've heard about her. Whether she is dead or not dead, I don't know.
Well, I mean, it appears that she's alive. She did appear in a video put out by it's the CHI_memorial on Twitter.
Right.
And she was injected, I think, on the 19th or the 20th. And then she passed out like 5 minutes after, which somebody said, I think
Not
it's,
helpful.
no. And there's something called, I think it's called like vasovagal or something like that, where certain people, when they get a needle, pass out.
Right.
But I think it's usually pretty immediate. And with her, it was a few moments later because she was talking and everything.
Right. Do you see that building on the corner there?
Yeah.
That's owned by a friend of mine. I'm not going to reveal his name on air. He's a nice guy,
I wouldn't ask
very
you.
successful in private equity.
It's a fancy building.
That is, he's a very ardent Democrat. A lot of fundraisers for Chuck Schumer knows his plan, speed dial. Nice Christmas tree actually in there. See it?
I can't really see it.
It's right there.
Oh, I see the tip of it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's another tree right here. We're going on a little bit of a Christmas tree tour, Charles.
Well, it's appropriate. Christmas
Yeah.
Eve. Before we get to the protest, though, Jason.
But real quick, I just want to finish about
Okay.
Tiffany. So they released a video on the 21st from CHI_memorial on Twitter, and they said, oh, she's fine. It's a 21-second video that shows her, or who appears to be her, for only a small portion of the 21 seconds. Nothing is said. And last night with Larry Klayman, I had observed that Miss Dover appears to be kind of twitching, some involuntary muscle movement. Oh, why'd you park the drag racing car over here, Charles?
Got to go somewhere, right?
That could be,
Street Outlaw, NYC.
it could be like 700 horsepower.
Wow.
But anyway, so she appears to be twitching, and then what I noticed today is the video is edited.
Really?
Yes, because they show her, and her hands are out of her pockets,
Huh.
and then it cuts, and her hands are in her pockets. So why did we have an edited video of this girl twitching around? If she was truly fine, wouldn't she just come out
I don't
with
know,
a
Jason.
short little press conference saying, hey, I'm fine, everybody saw me pass out, and now I'm totally fine? Something's wrong, for
Yeah.
sure.
Absolutely, something is wrong.
So that's the
This is Gramercy Park.
Right, Gramercy Park Christmas tree.
And we just passed the National Arts Club over there.
I told you that I was married in this park, right, Charles?
You did not.
Yeah.
Wow. Hopefully not in the winter.
No, summer.
Great. Did you have the reception at the Myelina restaurant yet?
No.
It's a nice. Ever been in there? When it was in its prime. It's an Italian place right over here.
Never been in there.
It used to be really nice.
So what about the speech that President Trump gave today,
Well,
vetoing the thing?
what I wanted to talk about a little bit is you talk about the National Buffoon's Christmas vacation, and that's really what we're in right now. We have, on the one hand, a bunch of knuckleheads who believe that Joe Biden is the president-elect, and they're on a coasting to victory, and that Trump is just going to give up. And then on the other hand, you have Trump's team, legal team. Now this is really interesting. That used to be, I guess it's out, used to be the Italian restaurant I was telling you about.
Wasn't this like the Gramercy Park Hotel?
Right there.
It's very difficult to control this with gloves on.
All right, what do you want me to do?
No, there we go.
Yeah. Seems to be like they're looks like they're renovating it or something.
Yeah. It's like new windows,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure that is the Gramercy Park Hotel.
But so what I believe has been going on here, and I've had various and sundry people, I won't mention their names on air right now, but you know some of them. I checked, let's go up this way.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sure.
I checked carefully today this whole idea of how the electoral college votes are supposed to be received and then examined. And this certainly does not look like
Open?
it's there anymore. But maybe I'm wrong.
pretty
Myelina,
dark. Yeah.
very nice place 10 years ago. And then this used to be some fancy, sorry drinkers, it's going to be a tough night for you. This used to be a very fancy nightclub place. Tough to get into?
I don't know anything about that.
All right, okay.
I thought it was the Gramercy Park Hotel.
It is part of it's Gramercy Park, but inside of it there was people who've been there will probably add to the comment section and explain what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of it.
Hopefully at a huge rate of engagement.
Exactly. So what I believe has been going on is that Trump's real legal team, the people who've been on the case and who are fighting not for him so much as for the presidency, understand that within a Democrat or a corrupt Republican state, you can get away with breaking the law. You can do it.
Yeah.
And you can control the state apparatus to a point where you're not going to be prosecuted by state officials. If it's really bad within the state, it might rise to the level where the U.S. attorney wants to get involved, and there you may have more of a problem unless that U.S. attorney is corrupt.
Like Alexander Acosta?
Like lots of people here in New York, for example. And so we've all been watching to see, would the Electoral College meet? Yes, they met.
What is this?
I have no idea.
We're on a break. Oh wait, this is all stuff from Friends. It's the Friends experience.
Yeah.
What is this? When did that get there?
I don't know.
It's the Friends experience, Charles.
Now, do you want to go up 26th and over, or do you want to go
Let's go check out
more?
Madison Square Park,
Okay.
and then we'll head over to Bezos' house. This is new, this Friends experience.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. Why the hell would you open that in the
Why
middle
is
of the
that an
pandemic?
essential business? And why does this idiot on a bike think that anybody's going to get out of his or her way
On the sidewalk.
on the sidewalk?
Ridiculous.
Anyway, so today, if you look in the Constitution, the 23rd.
Oh, look,
What?
part of the Friends experience, they have Central Perk.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When you do that, I think you're about to tell me that a burglar is coming at us or a mugger's coming at us. But anyway, so the 23rd, close of business today, is when those certificates of ascertainment have to reach Washington, D.C. and the National Archivist and a few other people. And it's only once they have crossed state lines that, in my view,
Federal crime.
that there would be a series of potential federal crimes that could be used to go against those who've been conspiring not only to steal the election, but to obstruct the investigation of the election. And I think it's tonight, in logic, when, if you're going to really go for it, you're going to go for it sometime after midnight tonight. Now,
Well, go for it, you mean?
to stop the steal.
Okay.
Because now you have people say, well, you don't have any evidence. Now you do have evidence. You've got multiple states certifying election results which are knowingly false, stating that they did investigate when they didn't investigate. And you've got reams of evidence and provided by many different people in many different ways to many different authorities supporting these contentions. Yet, Democrat judge after Democrat judge, uniparty judge after uniparty judge has decided, we don't like this stinking Trump dude. We like the uniparty, we like the status quo, and we're going to stifle. So it's only, I would argue, that tonight, following tonight, that you could really jump into action and move. Now, in light of in that context, we understand that Donald Trump declared tomorrow, and I don't know how you do this without the legislature getting involved, but Christmas Eve is a federal holiday now.
I'm surprised that it wasn't before.
No, it was never. It was you get Christmas. So now you have a team that really does feel and is backed up by probably many tens of millions of Americans feel that their vote was stolen or diverted,
Right.
or not counted or not respected. And you have an arrogant uniparty establishment enabled by the mainstream media, by academia, by social media, by multinational corporations, by big banks and investment firms, who are just in the submission game, not theirs. They want you to submit to their uncheckable authority. That's what they want.
Right.
And people across the political spectrum are saying, that's okay, we'll do that.
What was that?
They're saying, what?
I missed that, but there's another Krispy Kreme right here coming soon.
It's an Arby's. You ever
Terrible.
wanna, we got the meats.
Yeah. So Christmas, federal holiday.
Right. And so going back then to where Trump actually has,
Charles, these are all new.
some are new, yeah.
Bong store right here, that's new.
Yeah, McDonald's is not new. This is not new. Been there 22 years.
It's closed.
Was there 22 years. Sticky's chicken
That's new, I think.
thing, that may be new. So let's go up that way.
Yeah. Sorry, so we keep kind of interrupting
Okay.
the Christmas becomes a federal holiday.
Right, so we're gonna have to wait a few seconds here. So in addition to the drama on the steal, we have the drama on the stimulus check.
Right.
And so Trump
Epic
is,
speech on that.
that was an epic speech, it really was. But the way I checked it this morning, and there may be regulations that modify this, but the Constitution says that the president, when the president receives legislation that has been passed by sufficient margins in the House and the Senate, within 10 days, and there are two modifiers, but within 10 days, the president's choices are veto or sign. If the president fails to veto or fails to sign,
Default. Oh,
it becomes law within 10 days. Then the question becomes, and there's two modifiers. First question is, what kind of day are we talking about? Are we talking about business days, calendar days, etc.? And the Constitution says within 10 days, Sundays accepted. Now the Constitution was approved in 1789. At that time, people actually on the farm worked 7 days a week, but in those shops and businesses that existed back then, they would work 6 days a week. So you certainly are not going to count the Sunday. There'd be a debate.
should we walk through the park?
There'd be a debate about whether you would count the holiday, Christmas and New Year's Eve. And the second qualifier, though, is the important one. During this period where the president can say, I haven't made up my mind yet, the House and the Senate must remain in session. So and they put this bill in. He said he wants individuals to get $2,000, households to get $2,000 each, not $600.
right.
The swamp has said, no. No soup for you. We get all the soup.
Well, they were sending money to Cambodia and stuff.
Of course.
But that doesn't make sense for a COVID relief bill, because John Cullen has pointed out that Cambodia has some of the lowest number of deaths in the entire world. Why do they need our support?
You can send them some kombucha.
Look at how many seats they've set up here for
Right.
Shake Shack.
Yeah, black truffle burger. That sounds
But
very...
there's nobody here. Normally
No, I
Shake
know.
Shack has a huge line.
I know. You got a good place to park your skateboard.
So
we
Trump
could go up
is
around
going
that
to
way.
basically keep them hanging out.
Right, he's going to keep these people...
Oh, wait, here. But there's what I wanted to show everybody. The
the Christmas tree? Another
Madison
Christmas...
Square Park entertainment bush.
Yeah, there's the Christmas tree, and there's the Festivus bush. What do they call the Festivus stick?
Yeah.
212 is either that one or that one. I forget. You say it's 26?
26th, yeah.
It's up that way.
So he's going to make them all stay.
Yeah, he's got the ability during this Christmas, New Year's period to rile people up. See, this is what I've been fighting against. Here's a 5,000-page bill. We'll go around the perimeter.
Sure.
5,000-page bill. That didn't get written in a week. They've been
Right.
working on this for a long time, divvying up the pork, trying to hide what they were doing from you. The people, as in the case of Obamacare, voted for this bill without reading it.
That
This
should
is
be not allowed.
Yeah,
There should be a minimum number of days to review based on the length.
Well, that was an original Tea Party tenet. You'd have at least 72 hours to read any bill that was going to be voted on. And of course, that didn't happen
It's
here.
got to be a number of minutes per page. Like,
Well, it's just preposterous. It's absolutely preposterous. It's reckless. It's irresponsible. And I'm sorry, I'm going to use the phrase. And Bitch McConnell should be ashamed of himself.
Yeah.
He really should.
yeah.
And as should any Republican who voted for this. It's a mess.
Yeah.
Giving money to illegal aliens, but not to citizens.
Right.
It's crazy. And the arrogance of Nancy Pelosi. Imagine if the buffoon and his accomplice, Kamala Harris, are in fact president and vice president come 12/01, January 20th, and Nancy Pelosi's in there,
Right.
and they steal the Senate. If they're going to do this kind of stuff now,
Yeah.
imagine what they're going to do next year.
And Charles, they act like it's their money that they're giving us.
Right.
It's our money that they're stealing.
Right, and in the list, they had an excited commentary on CBS local news yesterday about the different counties on Long Island got, this county gets 100 million in the bill, and another county gets 50 million, but for some reason the town of Hempstead gets 125 million.
Why?
And my attitude, I don't know, but because that person's better politically connected, I guess, than other
Hempstead's
people.
kind of fancy, isn't it?
But I don't know. I haven't been there in ever probably, but it's just a system so completely broken down, and we're in a place with interest rates where they are so low, you could still paper this all over. There is a demand for dollars. There is a demand for U.S. dollar debt, 10-year and higher. And so the politicians are able to get away with this. It actually would be a good thing if interest rates started rocketing upwards, so that our politicians would finally, all parties, their feet would be put to the fire. There's a nice view here. This park actually, another drink coming.
Right.
In 1981, when I moved to the apartment on 23rd Street and Park Avenue South, this park was actually derelict.
Yeah.
There was no lawns. There were a few decrepit trees. There were no benches. There were none of these street lights. It was not a place that you went in. And
Now it's nice.
It was foreboding. In fact, several of the parks were like that, and the solution our city fathers had back then, and mothers back then, was to put fencing up so you couldn't see how bad it was.
Oh.
You want to go swimming?
Well, no, yeah, it's a huge kind of puddle here.
But now, honestly, it's quite
It's
a nice little park. So we've done 3 parks in less than an hour.
I like it.
And we still got 20 minutes until the
Well,
protest. Now
that's a
there's
bit-
a police van right there, so we must be getting close to 212. We could go up 5th and
Yeah,
down
let's do
5th
that
a little
just
bit.
to sort of see how it's all looking.
Yeah, there's the second van there. I don't see. Do you
What's
see?
that line for?
There is a roof garden bar.
Oh yeah, right. The 255th.
Here's 225. You say it's 212? So 212 would be down that way.
But it's on 26th Street,
Okay.
not Fifth Avenue, or at least the entrance to it was on 26th.
Maybe it's over there.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so we'll walk up a little bit, walk back.
And then we'll come back. Yeah, that's exactly where it is, right over there.
Then you have the Empire State Building in front of you. What are I guess suppose those are Christmas colors.
Yep. So fairly recently, the Spire had an upgrade with animated LED lighting, and you can see it's got a candy cane on there now.
Right. So just continuing, if I could, down
Yeah.
from the timeline. So we'll see what happens tonight. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Whether Trump, in fact, is successful pushing the House and the Senate to do something sensible with the defense appropriation bill and now the stimulus. And meanwhile, a lot of noise is being made on War Room Pandemic by Steve Bannon and others that there actually is real progress and that there are the alternative slates of electors have been appointed, and
The Republican ones, you mean?
yeah.
And then Mike Pence is going to be able to do something with that?
Maybe, and that, I mean, they have a long, complex set of arguments that this might happen if that happens and this could happen and whatever. But the point is we're going to see that now from today until January 6th. We also have the intervening holidays. Here's something nice for, you can have this place for lease,
Right.
or if you don't like that place, you can have this place for lease. And the question is, would you prefer to be closer or farther away from that
Homeless encampment?
homeless encampment? Do you want to have a good or a bad view of that empty place and that empty place and that empty place? I mean,
It's really,
now this, after about, I would say 1929, and of course I was not around in 1929, but this area prior to 1929 was booming. And then, of course, the Depression killed a lot of business everywhere. So I don't know how long it took this area to go down. But by 1981, it was still down. And it's since come back with a lot of, prior to the COVID pandemic, a lot of condo developments, a lot of taking commercial buildings and making them residential, bong stores.
on Fifth Avenue though, Charles. I mean, that's, must be moving a lot of bongs.
Well, I mean, remember that when did Coca-Cola stop using cocaine as an ingredient?
I don't know.
So it's a lot. We were just sitting around drinking cocaine.
But I
Is
mean,
it-
I think that it's stores like that are opening in places where they've never been before because the rent is so low.
Right.
That Friends thing,
Right.
what is that doing there? I saw right across the street from my old office on 8th Avenue a giant space, ground floor retail, tennis camp for little kids with multiple tennis courts. I've never seen anything like it in New York City.
Right. So just I want to,
Yeah,
before
sorry.
we get to the process, I just want to follow it through. So June 5th, Senate race.
Oh.
What?
No, getting hit by some kind of electric stuff.
Let's go this way.
Yeah.
Let's just go back.
Oh.
Jesus.
We might lose the broadcast. That's freaking out. It's like,
That happened there
hang
before.
on. It twisted the camera out of position. Whoa.
Wow.
Hang on now. That's crazy. That's like almost broke it.
Wow.
And now
So-
it's going again. It's hitting me again.
The force is not with us.
Someone is doing something, I think, Charles.
Huh. It tends to happen around that street.
Yeah.
That was 29th, 30th Street. In that zone.
It's hitting again. It's hitting again right now. I feel it in the handle.
All right.
It's almost like somebody's pointing something at us.
It's like hurting us away.
That's really something.
That's the future.
Charles, there's a lot of people who are trying to do stuff.
Right.
I don't want to interrupt what you're talking
well-
about, but we got to talk about the Brookings Institute.
We will, but I'll just bring this to a close, and then
Yeah.
because I just want to continue the glide path. So on the 5th, we're going to have the Senate races runoff races in Georgia. They're clearly going to try to steal those too. And we could end up in a place where Kamala Harris, if she is the vice president, or Pence, if he's the vice president, 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 vice president.
Now the audio. I don't know, Charles. Hopefully this comes back here. Check 1, 2. Okay, we're back.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kamala Harris, Mike Pence.
So we'll have to. Just what the fuck are you doing? We have those races might be decided on the 5th. The next day, the joint session of the Senate and the House is supposed to take place, wherein we review what electors say, what states say, which slates of electors states claim are the lawfully selected slates of electors. And there will be challenges to that on the 6th. Matt Gaetz in the House has said that he will challenge.
Oh, right.
And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Rand Paul challenges. Others may challenge. And every day between now and the 6th, and every day that they don't have the 2000 stimulus check. What?
You just don't like hoodlum-looking people following close behind us.
Right. Is a day that Trump can use his bully pulpit and just wage a last-ditch effort against the swamp.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he will do. Yeah, there's the cameras there, and that's where the protest is.
That's it right there?
I think so. There are people dressed up in Santa outfits. So the point being, most people like at Christmas time and holiday season, New Year's Eve, most people like to sort of put politics aside, spend time with friends and family, and dial it back. This is not going to be one of those periods. Now those are Amazon boxes. Tim?
Oh yeah.
And I have to say, as we get, I really object to the way in which Amazon, or that matter, Federal Express, use the sidewalks
as their warehouse.
And it also causes me to never want to use Federal Express, or when I see the way these boxes are put down over there, you know. And I also don't like the idea, whether it's Amazon or anybody else, you shouldn't be setting wages so low in a company that's created mega multi-millionaires and billionaires that the key employees have to live on food stamps or whatever to get by. That's just wrong. Who was the organizer?
Yeah?
You doing a test right now?
No,
I think it was calling to you. So, do we know who the organizer is of this?
I don't.
not to the lady in the red.
This guy?
Very unnecessary, yes.
What's the name?
V3D.
Savitri D? Can we say hi to
Hey,
Savitri?
y'all.
Sure.
Hi.
Jeff Bezos.
Would you be interested in being on a YouTube show?
Sure.
Briefly?
Hi.
What show is it? Hi.
So fill us in. What's going on?
So we're here. This is the Church of Stop Shopping and the Congress of Essential Workers. And we're here building a Christmas tree out of Amazon trash. All this trash I collected in a single afternoon in my neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Wow.
It is truly ubiquitous.
It's
And,
also everywhere.
So we're here just to say, Amazon, they trash everything. They trash the planet. They trash families. They trash local economies. They trash our city. Who pays to recycle all that? Not Amazon. Not Amazon. Who does the work? The city. Who pays for it? The city. Do they pay taxes in New York? No. So we're here anyway on behalf of all the workers at Amazon who are having a hard Christmas, those who got laid off, the 20,000 workers who got COVID working in Amazon warehouses, 20,000 that we know of. and they won't tell us how many died. We don't know. So there's a lot of reasons to protest Amazon, but to us, it's all embodied in how they treat the planet with their trash. It's like they'll trash anything. They don't care.
And you're here because Jeff Bezos has an apartment.
Jeff Bezos lives in the penthouse of this building, 212 Fifth Avenue. This is an $80 million apartment.
Isn't it like he put 3 apartments together
Yeah,
or something?
it's an $80 million apartment. Okay, we have Chris Smalls here who got fired from Amazon. He's waiting for his second stimulus check, okay?
Right.
Jeff Bezos makes $4,000 a second.
Holy crap.
A second!
Yeah.
So I'm just a little Christmas elf, and I'm here to tell you, shop elsewhere.
All right.
Shop elsewhere.
Do you have a
becoming-
Twitter handle or something that people can...
The Congress of Essential Workers and the Church of Stop Shopping. Rev Billy Talon is the Twitter handle.
It's a little difficult to not shop at Amazon. What do you think about when they took over Whole Foods?
Listen, it's not hard to not shop at Amazon. We lived thousands of years without Amazon. Thousands and thousands of years. We did fine without Amazon.
But now they've closed so many places.
You know what? Here in New York City, I can say for sure, you have a lot of alternatives to Amazon. It's easy to find an option to Amazon. And on the internet, all you have to do is scroll to the second or third page, and you find all the alternatives to Amazon.
I actually did that last night.
Yeah.
I just was buying some random thing. I was like, where can I get this other than Amazon? And it was
Yeah.
cheaper.
A lot of places, it turns out. So, you know, I think we don't need Amazon. It's like fabricated out of thin air. It really isn't. They don't do anything. They just move things around and shave money off of everything. They shave it off the makers, the distributors, the sellers,
Pressure the vendors,
the
yeah.
consumers. I mean, we could do a lot better, you know, with what we know and the history we have, especially in New York, which thrives on neighborhoods and small shops. And right now, especially, this is time we really need to give them our support. If we want our city to be what we think our city is, you know, which I do. I love this city, you know.
You know, they're going to be squeezing out movie theaters now. They've got all kinds of deals. HBO Max has got the streaming for
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, and then Amazon is going to have Coming to America too.
Yeah.
There will be no movie theaters anymore. Almost everything
I
you buy will
know.
come
I mean,
from places
we've been
like
the
Amazon.
Church of Stop Shopping has been talking about this for decades. So it's now finally happening, right? We are losing our culture to convenience. And we did this. So let's remember who did it. We did it. We participated, all of us, all along the way. We didn't, you know.
Look at all these cops
Oh, look,
arriving.
who's here?
Now,
It's our security detail has arrived.
Are you aware that Amazon also controls like some huge percentage of the servers that run the internet?
I am aware, and that is really their profit. That's where they make their most
Right.
money, yeah.
Our friends have arrived.
And they
So
have
this is all kind of a front in a certain
Don't wait for
sense.
the
Like
bikes to
that's
show up.
really
When the
where
bikes
they're
don't get here, then we got stuff to do.
that's where they're headed, right?
they handle a lot of
Data.
cloud data services for the
Right.
CIA.
Yeah, and so basically, when you shop there, you are determining your surveillance future. Let's just say it like that.
Well, so you're on Crowdsource the Truth too, which is Jason Goodman's YouTube channel,
Uh-huh.
and that's Jason Goodman.
Hi, Jason.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
likewise.
putting this together.
Yeah, sure.
And good
Charles,
luck.
let's check out the Christmas tree made of Amazon garbage.
Sure.
It's been quite a Christmas tree tour.
Ain't no safe way to work it.
Does each one of these boxes have some coal in it?
It should.
The cost of convenience. The cost of convenience. The cost of convenience. The cost of
It's good singing.
Tough to do.
convenience. The cost of convenience. The cost of convenience. The cost of convenience. The cost of convenience.
We shouldn't block the sidewalk. Careful, Jason.
Ain't no safe way to work it.
It's interesting. This puts a little bit, some of the other demonstrations that we've been to, puts them in perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, this is I think it sounds like it's a just protest,
Yes.
but it's not at this point. It's very early. I guess it's not even 6 yet, probably. It's going on 6. So maybe more people show up.
But it takes no position on who should be president. It's just Amazon.
Well, I think in the anti-monopolistic area, that is a pressure point that should unite across the political spectrum. Who's in favor of monopolism?
It doesn't help anybody.
Right,
Well,
except
Jeff
the monopolists
Bezos.
and Bill Gates, and we see the dangers of allowing monopolistic practices to happen at the same time that we have a global superstructure with no regulation, no enforcement of law, and corrupt elements at every level: state, local, national, regional, then global level. There's just no power that can stand up and say, we're going to take on Jeff Bezos. The Canadians will say, well, we stopped Amazon from operating the way it operates in the United States, but very few politicians in America are going to shut down Jeff Bezos. He personally owns the Washington Post.
Yeah.
He's got a gigantic mansion in Washington, D.C. He's got it's literally a gigantic building. And he's on a campaign, of course, to make sure that the politicians in the swamp are definitely going to do his bidding. So it would be nice to see some people grow a set. A guy like Donald Trump in his 2nd term, or maybe his 3rd term. Just kidding, I'm the 3rd term. Stand up and do something about this, because nobody else does. Democrats don't, Republicans don't, rhinos don't. And this guy started with a business premise that what he was going to do,
Sell books.
sell books. And books have a peculiar way of selling. And that is that ordinarily when you're a fledgling store and you're trying to sell merchandise, you don't have any credit as an independent store, typically the suppliers say you're going to pay for the stuff in advance. Books, and in particular, he cut a very smart deal with Ingram Distribution, which had a monopolistic position distributing books. He convinced them to provide him credit.
That kid scared me.
To provide this startup credit, and more importantly, the Ingram family, saw the handwriting on the wall for the book distribution business, and they said, you know what, we like this hedge fund guy, Bezos. He's a smart guy from Princeton. I forget if he went to business school or not, but he had done well. We like this guy. We're going to invest in Amazon and let him build this business. But we'll lose in distribution, but we'll more than make up on a profit on our Amazon founding stock or early round stock. So they were able then, with Amazon, they were able to sell books immediately and actually and not pay for them until 90 days typically. So you get the free use of
Pretty good terms.
an excellent model for books, but you can't do that with everything. And his initial ride upwards didn't provide, in my view, granular financial disclosures about how much money was being made in books and how much money was being lost everywhere else. I would submit that that's the case today. I haven't recently looked at the financial statements. Maybe 2 years ago I looked at them. Like other large companies, it does not properly, in my view, if it really cared about transparency, disclose where they make the money regionally, statewise, inside the United States, where they make the money geographically and by product, and more importantly, where they make the cash flow, not simply the reported operating profits.
Well, now they have credit cards and video streaming services.
Well,
I mean, it's
everywhere.
just such a huge.
Right. So they have the cloud business, I think, is probably
Right.
where they make a tremendous amount of money.
And the
that's something
data,
that-
they know what everybody's buying, they know what you're doing, what you're talking about in your house.
Right, and that subsidizes the losses elsewhere. A lot of businesses do that. Here we do see a fair amount of mainstream, or at least traditional camera, microphone approaches.
No, that's not. That's a low rank.
Stringer, what was it, like a photographer?
Yeah. Well, but even so, I mean, we're at a point where that guy could be shooting HD on whatever that camera is and providing it to some news channel.
Yeah. Again, to put this in context for people who are not in New York City right now, on Sunday, I got pretty cold.
Yeah.
Because we were standing
Not
still.
nearly as bad now.
Yeah, it's very pleasant. So, and it's also a shopping day prior to Christmas. I mean, you can't. This is really typically the last day that people might shop prior to Christmas. Christmas Eve, you sort of want to
Should be busy right now.
Should be very busy, and it's not. And I hope that this that Bezos's the contrast in Bezos's personal wealth and extravagant lifestyle and his instincts that he wants to control everything, contrasted with the way in which Amazon workers are treated and small businesses are treated. But what the globalists don't understand is that the businesses we walked by in Greenwich Village in that Devonshire house there, those small businesses, those are the businesses that tend to really multiply the money through the chain of sourcing stuff, selling stuff, employing people, tracking all that, using local accountants and lawyers and whatever. That type of a business tends to have a very positive impact on the local economy. A business like Amazon is quite the opposite. You're going around the world, you're trying to sell, in the main, in their
Chinese products.
cheap crap.
Yeah.
And for much less than you can get it in a remote location inside the United States. And in the initial period of the gigantic growth of Amazon, you also had the support, the subsidy that the Amazon purchaser, or the purchaser of goods on Amazon didn't have to pay sales tax.
Right.
So when you started thinking that through, if you're living in the suburbs, and the choice is getting in a car, wear and tear, getting to the mall, spending your time doing this, and you dollar all that out, and you have to pay sales tax on it, versus just or
get it tomorrow or
on
whatever.
a pure economic basis. Once you start to trust Amazon and the internet, it's just a lot smarter. And so they should have actually assessed sales tax a long time ago. And I think it is fair to look at whether Amazon is, if not a monopoly, a near monopoly at this point.
I think it is. They're leveling up, Charles.
They are. Whatever that means.
These guys came prepared, I have to say.
Yeah. Now I'm surprised actually.
The lights are going on now.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually that they're not being stopped because I believe this is not. Is this city property or is this?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The apartment building? I guess, I mean, it's permitted. The cops are here, so it's permitted.
Yeah, I know on my street that the Brownstones own have a responsibility for cleaning the sidewalk. So I'm actually surprised that they're not saying you can't do this, blocking the traffic.
I bet Jeff Bezos is not in there.
Oh no, of course not. He's probably in Stad or on a yacht somewhere.
I was going to
in
say,
Bora Bora.
I mean, I don't understand these guys who have these super billionaire yachts. Like, why ever leave that?
Yeah.
Just have your helicopter on there and.
Meanwhile, his ex-wife is giving away $1 billion a month to charity.
Wow. How many billions does she have?
Enough, I guess, to give $1 billion away.
Because I mean, you could probably, I would think, even if you had just like 100 million, most people could probably live the rest of their lives on that.
I think if you had 2 million and you were sensible, you could probably live pretty well. But yeah. So I'll give this group style points for the costumes.
Should we talk to some more of them and see?
If you see any, what about the guy in the pink?
Wait. No.
The Reverend there. You see him in the pink suit there?
Have any questions or looking to talk to anyone or anything, I'm going to be happy to.
Sorry, I missed what you said.
I'm a media liaison for the Church of Stop Shopping.
Okay, the Church of Stop Shopping, the film is called. So, okay, let's do a little interview here. Tell us all about it.
Well, the Church of Stop Shopping, as you can see, is building this garbage Christmas tree as a message to everyone about what we're doing to our environment and our economy by relying so much on Amazon for all of our products. The amount of trash produced by Amazon in a year would circle the globe like 5 times.
Wow.
It's 496 billion. Actually, I'm going to check that figure, but I mean, it's a huge amount of waste. And the impact on local businesses, you can see what's happening around
Absolutely.
us.
Well,
Obviously, we're in troubled times, but...
And what about the impact that Amazon has in terms of heating and cooling its buildings, fueling the cars, and the delivery trucks, and the planes, and all that kind of stuff. Isn't that a very negative impact on the environment?
Oh, of course, it's huge. I mean, just think about the fleet of. I'm going to call up these numbers for you. Hold on.
Sure.
Do you know if Jeff Bezos is home right now?
He's home somewhere.
I don't. But you know who you should talk to for this is Reverend Billy right here.
Who's
at
that?
the Church of Stop Shopping. Reverend Billy.
Reverend Billy.
Yeah,
Not Bill Clinton.
No, it's that guy. He's got a good singing voice.
He has all the talking points and the facts at his fingertips more than I do. He's the spokesperson for the group.
We will speak to him.
You want to do it?
Is this a 501c3 or is it you organize as a charity and you fill the paperwork out right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally.
It's one of the things we do. We specialize in exposing charity fraud. And Jason has this is Jason Goodman here. I'm Charles Ortel. Jason has his quite a large library of videos exposing all sorts of things.
Yeah.
Together, we've been focused on the Clinton Foundation and other charity fraudsters.
Gotcha. Well, Reverend Billy and his wife Savitri walk the walk. I mean, they practice what they preach. Let's put it that way. They're a very small group of volunteers. You can see the people here. It really is like a church. I'm a volunteer.
Good.
We try to do things, for people who aren't religious but want a sense of community and doing something good for the earth and for the planet.
That's what you do?
That's what we're
That's
all
your
about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for putting this together, and this garbage Christmas tree is coming together very nicely.
Right. How did you guys end up here?
I get a lot of people contacting me about a variety of protests that are going on around the city, and we have a regular show on Wednesday, and we felt this would be a good topic for it.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you're not considering them in the way that you're thinking, but you should.
No, we're not. I'm not pro Amazon at all. Okay. Don't worry about that.
No, but I mean, like if you're looking for scams.
Oh, yeah. I started exposing General Electric in 2007 as a fraud, and that's a pretty smaller company today than it was when I started exposing it. And I moved on to the Clinton Foundation, and we still haven't won that yet.
Yeah.
And when we get past that, we may well take a look at places like Amazon.
Is Amazon a scam?
Oh no, I thought you were talking about charity groups. That was my concern that you were.
Oh no, you mean charity groups?
So you're thinking, but
we're not thinking you guys. We didn't even know you were a charity. We just came here because we heard that they were protesting Bezos, and we agree with that.
No, they're an activist performance group. Do you have a card?
I don't have a card.
Can I forward you our email?
Yes,
press release?
truth@crowdsourcethetruth.org.
Okay.
Oh, we'll catch him now. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
.org.
A Christmas tree made out of Amazon trash. The elves are evolving into angels over there, putting their wings on.
Oh, that's cute.
Are the wings made of Amazon trash?
They may be.
I think they might.
They're under the paint now.
It's
so
recycled. So, Reverend, give us an overview. What is it all about here today?
Well, we have this. We have another, amazing unicorn company, and these companies that come out of nowhere and just blast into space. We have a weakness in our culture for kind of admiring the gangsters that run them. Oh, you're fucking me. Oh, I get it. Yeah. You're a trillionaire. I get it. The regulators show up generally 5 years later. Certainly that's true with Zuckerberg and Google and so forth. And this is another one. It's just he's putting a million metric tons of carbon dioxide into the air every week.
But he's an environmentalist.
he's giving his money to the big conservative outfits, I would say, if I can call them that.
Is he?
So he's paying off his conscience, but if he could just stall the inevitable lawsuits on behalf of the earth and on behalf of the neighborhoods he's destroying, if he can just stall every day that Bezos can put back his reckoning, he's making billions. So he's being smart to take a part of his personal wealth and pay off the environmentalists who might sue him. He knows what he's doing. Another few months, another year of what he's doing, another 100 billion. I mean, he's making money so fast. So this trash comes into our municipalities, and there's an argument that, well, it's our purchases, so therefore we should take care of the trash. But for us, it's the physical symbol of the carbon dioxide that's going into the air that's driving the heating of the planet. That's really the issue with Amazon. Of course, with the Church of Stop Shopping, we're defending neighborhoods, so we don't like the impact on the smaller shops. And the thing about a healthy neighborhood is it's at least partly a gift economy. The value isn't commodified. It's friendships, it's trust, it's loyalty. And these giant Wall Street finance chain stores, they just come in and just make it difficult for neighborhoods to, pay the rent in a most basic way.
Maybe it's kind of impersonal as well. You raise a good point. Your local shop, the owner, the family that runs it.
Yeah.
Now we're just ordering from a computer, getting stuff delivered
Yeah.
from somebody we don't know. What about little kids who are growing up right now? I mean, everyone's wearing masks to protect themselves from coronavirus. Little kids right now, they don't see a smile. They're not walking into a shop and knowing the store owner who might hand them a lollipop and be a friend of the family. It's really depersonalizing the world.
Yeah, it's got to be, oh, what a wonderful life. That's how they can research neighborhoods.
So what does the Church of Stop Shopping hope to accomplish?
We want people to consciously resist the impulse to go into that. It's becoming an addiction like meth or something right now. You just touch the screen, and 24 hours later somebody comes to the door with the thing that you touched. And people are addicted to that right now, and we want people to resist that and to know the cost of that convenience. Amen?
Amen.
There you go.
There you go. Thank you very much, brother.
Well, good luck.
How's our box tree coming here? We're done. Are we done? Almost.
That's a towering
It's a very
pile of
beautiful
garbage.
tree.
Well done, I have to say.
Sorry, and I had a technical difficulty.
Crowdsourcethetruth.org.
All one word, crowdsourcethetruth.org. And that's Jason, and I'm Charles.
They really came prepared.
Very beautiful box tree.
This guy's a pretty snappy dresser for a reverend.
Officers, we have a very beautiful box tree over here.
Do you think that he took lessons? Did he take lessons from the Reverend Al Sharpton?
I don't think so.
At least in his dress. But
Al Sharpton looks like a Q-tip to me. Head is too big for his body.
a greatly diminished Q-tip.
Jason and who?
Charles.
I'm a little slow.
Will there be is there an angel going up on top or a star?
You want it kind of puffed up, right?
Great question.
There we go.
There you go.
That's good.
The costume designers have really gone overboard here.
You have to check out ReverendBilly.com.
ReverendBilly.com?
Yeah, it's in the release.
Have I seen him in Washington Square Park
Yes,
talking?
you've probably seen him. He's been
I
around
think
for a
I've
long
seen him
time.
before,
There's a
yeah.
movie called What Would Jesus Buy that was done by Morgan Spurlock
Oh, sure.
of Super Size Me fame.
Right.
No,
And he was in it. What was
yeah,
it called?
What Would Jesus Buy?
What would Jesus buy? And is the Reverend Billy an actual reverend? Or?
No.
No. So he's like Al Sharpton.
Exactly.
Good.
No, it's a character that he grew up in a Protestant tradition very
Sure.
similar to that. So kind of imbues that, like he knows that world very
Sure.
well. But it's a character he's been for a long time.
I
So
see.
and
What is he
support-
in real life?
This
This
they
is a
live
full
this.
time. Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's well done.
Yeah.
And Amazon is the focus, or are there other
they've been around for years with an anti-consumer message. Buy local, shop local,
Right.
Anti-corporate. And Amazon is their most recent campaign. They've done campaigns in Chase banks because of their financing of climate. They support
sorry,
many.
I think they're giving some more speeches over here.
Christmas tree. Last row on the bottom. Roll the boxes up and hang it. Everybody can do one.
That's the other thing, these are all settled down.
It's like a skirt, kind of.
Or like a Christmas skirt, right.
So what are they doing now?
They're putting on,
Take a box and put it around the bottom.
putting presents under the tree.
Ah, more boxes.
This might be the most Christmas that many people in New York get.
Well, it's also a very creative protest, I have to say. And it's got a kind of a friendlier vibe. Nobody is trying to like beat anybody up or scream at anybody.
Yet.
Right.
Ladder, 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 ladder. Ladder.
Now there's a helicopter above. It's just passing through. Or...
It's getting colder now.
We're still, just to put this in perspective to our other protests, we're only 15 minutes into this. And you see how the crowd has grown. It's probably almost twice what it used to be, but it's still relatively small. If you go back to Henry Ford, and I know Henry Ford had many despicable qualities, and I'm not saying that I admire him in general, but he realized when he mass-produced his cars at a time when there were many other car manufacturers, he realized that it was smart to make it possible to pay his workers enough
buy
so
a
that they
car.
could buy the cars, right?
Because otherwise you're sitting there pissed off that you're making something for the man that you can't have.
Right.
Versus I'm excited I'm going to get one of these.
Right. So Jeff Bezos doesn't seem to get that.
Right.
Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Oh man. Amazon trashes.
Definitely are the best singers.
Yes.
It's really tough to sing on key outside with no prompt.
Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything.
Oh, there's a sign with this.
Everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone.
Oh, they're putting lights on it now.
Yeah.
Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything.
Charles, this might be an even better Christmas special than last year.
That's right. It'll be tough to top it next year. Can't stand on angel wings. You see the sign here, Jason?
I did see that, yeah. The cost of convenience. I didn't hear that 20,000 people had gotten COVID from Amazon.
Well, it's got a huge workforce,
Yeah.
so it wouldn't surprise me. How many cases do we have of COVID around the world?
Around
14
the world,
million, I think?
I don't know about that, but it was like 200,000 dead, I think. That was just in the United
That's
States.
deaths. It was like
Yeah,
cases.
it's several million cases. We have to ask John Collin about that stuff. We got the band coming in now.
man.
Maybe right here.
I'm ready.
Right here.
Young lady, you know,
This is our spot, Chris.
are those Dior goggles?
Oh yeah,
We are in the fashion district.
that's very Star Wars looking of her.
I know. It's quite a combo.
No, I don't understand what the donkey is all about.
What the what is?
Isn't that a donkey?
Everything and
know.
everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. That sound like a Christmas carol for the baby? Amazon trashes everything
Well done.
and everyone. Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Welcome to a Amazon trashes everything and everyone. Resistance. Amazon trashes everything. These Wall Street Finance Corporation. Amazon coming to our neighborhoods and delivering trucks to all over our neighborhoods. Attack on our bonfire stores. Amazon trashes everything and then they leave us all this trash. Amazon trashes and of course, this trash is symbolic of the 1 billion metric tons of carbon dioxide that Amazon puts into the atmosphere every single week. And we are here, the Church of Stop Shopping, co-sponsoring this event with the Congress of Essential Workers. Amen. Let's give it up for the Congress of Essential Workers, Amazon workers. Amazon workers that have been harassed and in many cases fired for trying to distribute and educate the details about how to stay safe in the distribution centers from the coronavirus. And I'd like to turn the bullhorn over now to Christian Smalls. Has been a worker for years at the Staten Island Distribution Center. And when he led a group of people trying to bring information into the warehouse for the workers there, they fired him. He's here now. Chris, here you go.
Is he related to Biggie? Christian Smalls related to Biggie?
Yeah.
First off, I just want to say thank you all for showing up today in solidarity with the workers of Amazon. And what I would like to do, out of respect for those over 20,000, because I know those numbers are watered down.
Yes, they are.
Amazon, just to give you some information, Amazon has over 1 million plus workers worldwide. Over 600,000 workers nationwide. No way only 20,000 tested positive.
No way.
We're talking about 500,000 people. Possibly more than that. That's watered down. And right now I want to have a moment of silence for all of the people that got sick and died during COVID-19. Join me right now, please. Thank you.
Bravo.
Like Billy said, I worked at Amazon. I started in 2015. I opened up 3 major buildings for them in the tri-state area. I started off in New Jersey,
opened up EWR9, transferred to Connecticut BDL2. My last building was JFK, Staten Island. I started off entry level, making $12.75 back in 2015. Working hard, long hours, 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, taking time away from my family, my kids, to work for the richest man in the world, with hope that this company would take care of me in return. I worked hard, I got promoted up to a supervisor position, what they call a process assistant. In layman's terms, is assistant manager. I was stuck in that position for the next 4 years, possibly because of the color of my skin. Amazon, like I said, has over 1 million plus workers worldwide. Only 8% of management is black or brown or indigenous. So what does that tell you right there? There's systemic racism inside this company. For 4 years, they kept me in the same position as I watched my white counterparts come in with less experience. 6 months. 6 months or less get promoted right over me.
Wow.
I trained my bosses for years. In return, I got nothing. But what I did get was my dignity, integrity, and I was able to walk out on my own terms. So when COVID-19 came into play, I watched as a supervisor every single day my employees come to work fatigue, eyes bloodshot. Some of them were even vomiting at their workstation. And we would clean it up and put somebody right back on that same station. No masks, no cleaning supplies, no safety guidelines. Business as usual.
Shame on them.
Had a meeting March 24th. They told me in this meeting with supervisors and bosses above me. They told me not to tell my employees that somebody tested positive 2 weeks ago. What I did, I left. That was my last time working for Amazon.
Good for you.
An hour later, me and my brother Dirk Palmer, we said, enough is enough. We're going to fight back.
Yes, sir. Fight back. Fight back.
We went home. We brainstormed. I reached out to every major media news I could think of.
Yeah,
I
sure.
reached out to Governor Cuomo's office. I reached out to Mayor de Blasio's office. I reached out to the CDC department of New York, the health department. New York City was the epicenter. People were dying every 15 minutes. I didn't get any answer in return that entire week. But I didn't sit home. I didn't sit home in my house in New Jersey. What I did, I came back to my Amazon facility every single day off the clock and sat in the cafeteria for 10 hours a day. Ran to the general manager's office every morning at 9 o'clock, voicing their concerns with my fellow co-workers. Letting them know we need to be protected right now. We need to shut this facility down right now.
Bravo!
At the end of the week, after all week of getting a runaround, no answer, no response, had us sitting in the cafeteria, not paying. They decided to quarantine me. Only me. Nobody else. Out of 5,000 people, 5,000 people in JFK, Staten Island, I was probably the third person to ever get quarantined. So what does that tell everybody there?
You're special, brother.
They were trying to silence me and silence us for speaking up about COVID-19. And that's the way they tried to spin it to the media. I violated social distancing policy. What policy? There was none. We had no policy. We had no guidelines. We had no masks. We had no protections. It was totally false. They fired me for speaking up about COVID-19. But I didn't give up. I didn't give up. March 30th, we had that protest. 2 hours later, they fired me. A week later, Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world.
The richest man in the world.
This man that made over $88 billion. This man that's, as we speak, $4,000 a second. Almost $4,000 a second. $9 million an hour. $13 billion a day. This man spent $9 million to have a meeting about me in 1 hour. In that meeting, he said, let's make him the face of the whole unionizing effort. He's not smart or articulate. Racist remarks. We'll be in a better PR position to smear Chris Smalls than to answer questions for the umpteenth time about health and safety of our own employees. This man, Jeff Bezos, he signed off on that. But somebody in that room leaked it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, here we are. 9 months later, we still fighting for the same thing. Workers are still getting sick in that building on a daily basis. Workers had died in that same facility. The blood is on their hands. I said that. I said, if somebody, God forbid, somebody died in this building, the blood is going to be on your hands. And guess what? Not 1, not 2. We're talking double digits. And they keep this away from the media. They keep this away from the public. This is why I traveled the country for the last 9 months. I put my life at risk every single day for this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Every single day.
Grateful to you. Thank you.
Traveled the country for the last 9 months. Started off here. Went down to Washington and Jeff Bezos' $23 million mansion down there. Went to Beverly Hills to his $165 million mansion. Just came back from Seattle a few weeks ago. Stopped at his $23 million mansion. And we right here at his $80 million mansion. This is the 3rd time I was here. We're not going to stop.
No.
We're not going to give up.
Not giving up.
We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to speak up. I'm going to continue to uplift the voices that are unheard. The ones that have underlying health conditions. The ones that can't speak. The ones that still at work right now. Suffering for 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, 50, 60 hours a week to deliver Christmas packages to the world. Putting their lives at risk as essential workers. They deemed us as essential workers. Wrong choice. We're not essential, only our health is essential.
Yeah,
Our
okay,
health is
right.
essential. And if we're essential, that means that we are a necessity, right?
Yeah.
They need us, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos ain't coming to the White House doing these packages.
No.
Who really got the power?
We are.
We got the power. We got the power. The people got the power. Same thing going on in this country right now. Half of us facing eviction right now, unemployed. Myself, no health insurance. How are we supposed to take care of each other? Our community, doing what we're doing now. This is what community look like.
This is what community looks like.
We got to take care of ourselves. We can't rely on the government. We can't rely on the Democrats, the Republicans, and we damn sure can't rely on the 1% class, these billionaires, that take care of us, the working class people. So what are we going to do this year? What is the next step?
Stand up, fight back.
What is the next step for us?
General strike.
General strike? Yeah. How much more are we going to take? We're waiting on a second stimulus as we speak. While the politics, they're playing politics with our lives. Politics. Just to give up breadcrumbs. $600? You know what $600 is? $15 times 40. That's 40 hours. That's 40 hours a week. $15 is $600. They give you a week, 1 week pay. It's a damn shame. working for the richest man in the world, living in the richest country in the world.
That's right.
And we handled this virus the worst in the world. So once again, it's up to us to tell our truth. Don't have the media spin it any other way. We have to be in these streets every single day, every single week, until we get better. Not until they do that, until we get better. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing this for the future. For our children. For our children to grow up in a society that's better than the one we're living in now. We should never have to go through this ever again. And when history is done, 5 years from now, you want to look back at COVID-19 and say, what did you do during COVID-19? Where was you? Did you support? Was you in the streets? Was you fighting back? Make sure you don't miss this opportunity, this window of opportunity right now. This country needs change. And we need to do that right now. We cannot wait.
That's right.
We cannot wait.
We can't wait.
And once again, I just want to say thank you all for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not done. I filed a class action lawsuit against Jeff Bezos and Amazon. And the reason why I filed the class action because I always said it in the beginning. It's never going to be Amazon versus Chris Smalls. It's going to be Amazon versus the people. And together, we all have to be David versus Goliath.
Right.
And you know what happened?
We win.
We win. We win. So I want to thank you all for being here. You're going to hear some stories from some Amazon workers. Actually, from JFK that was with me on day one. So without further ado, I want to welcome my brother, Derek Palmer, who was with me.
Here he is.
Tell him where you just came from, Joe.
How's everybody doing today? I know it's cold out here. Thank you guys for being out here. I love you guys for all the solidarity that you guys have been showing us. Me and my brother, we've been all around the country. We've been to LA, we've been to Seattle, we've been here 3 times, we've been everywhere, DC too. We've been fighting this good fight against Jeff Bezos and Amazon. You know why? Because we demand our respect. As workers, essential workers all across the world. We're not doing this just for Amazon. We're doing this for every essential worker. Everyone in this crowd who's an essential worker, we're doing it for you too. What Amazon does a good job of is silencing workers. Every day I go to work, I'm still at Amazon. I still listen to their stories. Everyone's afraid to speak up. They so scared that they won't even go to the main office and talk to the leadership. Because you know why? Because they say, look what happened to Chris. They say, look what happened to Gerald. Look what happened to those workers who stood up for the cause. All we wanted was safety. That's it. You know what Amazon's policy is? Safety is number 1. Who believes that?
No, none of us.
How are we safe with no mask and no gloves and no social distancing in a building full of 5,000 associates? How? How is it safe? Tell us. Please let me know. You know why? We went to that main office, me and my brother and a few other associates as well, every single day for 10 hours for an entire week. We got the same response. You know what the response was? We're doing everything we can. You're doing everything you can, right? I bet.
Filling up that pocket.
You got people sick, running in and out the building every day. You got people not only working in Staten Island, you got people working from the Bronx. You got people working from Brooklyn. working from Jersey like myself. I commute there every day. You got people from all over. There's people from Connecticut who's driving in. Connecticut. There was no testing going on. Nothing. There was no temperature checks. But when they get on the media, what do they say? Amazon's safe. We have the temperature checks. We're making sure everyone is safe and we care about everyone's lives. Bullshit. I don't want to hear none of that. Because guess what happened? When we spoke, March 30th, matter of fact, before that, March 24th to March 30th, what happened? Nothing. Retaliation, that's what happened. And then they try to sweep it under the rug. We put this country on our back. We put Amazon on our back. And what do we get in return? Absolutely nothing. We get fired. We get no help from the government. We get nothing. Why? If we so essential, why are we not getting anything? Somebody please tell me. I would like to know.
We want to know too.
Like I said before, Amazon wants to sweep all the issues under the rug, and I'm here today to tell you that they're not going to do that.
That's right.
They're not going to do that, because we're going to keep fighting. From now, I don't care how long it takes. Me, my brother, all our members from the Congress of Essential Workers everywhere, every group that's down for the cause, we are going to stand up, period. And I'm just here to thank you guys. Solidarity. I love you guys. Thank you.
Derek and Chris, thank you so much for your moving testimony. What?
Okay. Well, I'm going to broadcast right now, but.
Richest man in the world, how you making your money? Richest man in the world, you make it off of Corona. Richest man in the world, how you making your money? Richest man in the world, you make it off of Corona. Richest man in the world, how you making your money? Richest man in the world, you make it off of Corona. Richest man in the world, the pandemic profiteer. In the penthouses above us, the lights are on. Is that you? Jeffrey! Hey, we're gonna write messages to you on your trash Christmas tree here. That's gonna be our Christmas card. Come on down and get our messages. He must be home because he had all these damn police today. He must be home. There's a lot of police people here. He's spending that tax dollars on police. Protecting the 1%. He needs to be taxing you. Hallelujah. These boxes, they represent the people who handled the boxes, the people who are in those distribution centers, managing those computers, putting the boxes on the conveyor belt, taking them to the delivery trucks. But they also represent the trash that is put into the air. The carbon dioxide. This company is, the regulators are going to catch up to this company 5 years from now. I'm sick of these unicorn companies. They come out of nowhere. And it's like we're dazzled by these gangsters. It's like James Cagney, he's shooting me, but I love you. Don't be dazzled.
15 years ago it was Walmart. Monsanto. They take our money and we loathe them. There's something going on in the American psyche. Am I right? Yes. Is this a pattern? Yes. We got to jump on this company now. Yes. Because the accelerating sixth extinction, hundreds of species disappearing every week. It's real. It's real. And the young people are going to get this. The thing that's happening right now. What we're turning over to them. We've got to be able to resist now. We can't wait for some kind of gradualist idea. We can't wait for the environmental movement to sue them. He's giving billions and billions of dollars to the big outfits that he's afraid will sue him. Well, you've got a lawsuit coming to you from Christian Smalls and the people who work there.
workers are rising up. And I urge each and every one of you, look up the Congress of Essential Workers and give them money. Give them support. Support these workers. We're addicted right now in this country. It's like methamphetamines. We put our finger on an image on a screen, and 24 hours later, Jeff Bezos is at our door giving us our package. Something about that is very powerful. It's a drug. It's a drug. It's addictive. And they're doing it everywhere. Everywhere. We're all doing it. We've got to stop that. We've got to break into that moment, that bubble. That moment where people mainline and put the needle in their veins. How do we do it? I'm asking you. Somebody's going to see the press. Somebody's going to see what we did here with this trash Christmas tree. Somebody saw Chris and Derek speak. This has got to go out there. The Congress is working so hard going from city to city to city. This is a tremendous show of activism. This is the kind of activism that is going to save our neighborhoods from these Wall Street finance chain stores. We're going to be turned into a bunch of robots. We've got to rise up. We've got to bring back to these companies the complexity of a healthy neighborhood. The complexity, the nuanced quality, the compassion of a person who is a whole person, who's not just getting his or her signals from these monoculture monsters. You and I have souls. Now we know we have to defend our souls. Souls are utterly unique. Souls, a person's soul is like a healthy neighborhood. You can't quantify it. You can't turn it into a database. That magic has to be brought back again. And that is the urban version of what an ecosystem is in the earth. There's nothing as complex. We've got to bring back habitats. We've got to love the earth. Earth-alleluia. Earth-alleluia. We will have equality when we have earth justice. Earth justice and human justice are the same thing at the end of the day. We've got to have both. We've got to have both, Earth-alleluia. 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 Love-alleluia. Change-alleluia. We've got to celebrate the justice rising up in our bodies right now. You know, we've converted the king's imperialist hymn into an earth celebration. Let's sing for these people. The Stop Shopping Choir. Christopher. Gregory. Lead us here. The elves are going to sing for us. You ready? Here we go.
Go for it!
Here we go.
And then I'm gonna do some fact checking.
Okay. So I want to. Ain't no safe way to get Amazon. Ain't no safe way to work in Amazon. I want y'all to listen to another story from an Amazon worker that literally works at JFK Staten Island. He was with me in the cafeteria. He was with me on day one when we was protesting, advocating. And he's here today. I haven't seen him in 9 months, and I'm happy that he's here. I'm happy that he's here in solidarity to speak about what's still going on at JFK 8. And this is very important.
He's still a worker there, and he's going to speak today about what's still going on in that facility, and we want to put it out there now. Amazon had, what was it, ABC News? They had ABC News in the building just 2 days ago. Trying to put together some propaganda video, make it seem like it's safe in there. Meanwhile, at the same time, a building in New Jersey had to close down because the cases were too high. That's the number one question. How many cases does it take to close down a facility? I'll tell you what, JFK makes millions of dollars a day. They're not trying to close that facility down. So this is why we need workers from that building to speak up. And I'm happy that I have my brother Tristan here, who works there, who wants to tell his story and his work experience.
How's it going, guys? So I apologize in advance. I'm not as good of a public speaker as these guys right here, but I just want to tell a quick story about me working there. I've worked there for going on 3 years now. I'm currently working. In fact, I actually have work tomorrow, so got to go back at some point. But I was there with Chris Smalls when everything started going down, and everything that they said about having temperature checks and social distancing, all of that did not become implemented until after they fired Chris. Until after multiple people launched investigations, the health department, the city of New York. Up until that point, there was no social distancing at all. There was nothing. Even now, they have social distancing, but only in the main areas, break rooms. Once you go out onto the floor and actually begin working, there is no social distancing at all, because it is impossible. It is impossible to work less than 6 feet from somebody in a building that sends out millions of packages every day. In fact, there's actually a goal right now for our department, me and Derek. Their goal is to send out 8 million packages this month. Not only does, that's their goal, and managers have actually started to work in that area with us only because their bonuses depend on it just as well. When the only bonus that we get is $300 that will be taxed and we'll probably see less than $100. So that's the thanks that we get for working throughout the holidays and bringing all these people their gifts and their presents and their joy. When people can't spend any time at home because they're working 60 hours a week. I've worked 6 days last week. If I can't even spend Christmas with my family because they go away. I have to stay home because I have work the next day. I haven't been to Thanksgiving or Christmas or any major holidays in 3 years since I started there. One time, most recently actually, I had some questions about their social distancing policy and their contact tracing. When I went down there and I was told that their policy was that the only way you could be contact traced is if you had 15 minutes of continuous contact with somebody with your mask down. And I asked the gentleman, I said, that doesn't sound right. It doesn't take 15 minutes for this virus to spread at all. It takes seconds. Seconds. And even he showed some reservations that he didn't agree with it. If you don't agree with something, you should say something instead of just nodding your head and going along with it because you're afraid to lose your job. I go in there every day afraid to lose my job just because Amazon decides, you know what, let's just get rid of this guy. They can make up any reason they want. They can fire anyone at any time. And that's scary going to work every day knowing that you can lose your job at the drop of a hat. The way you live, the money to support your family, your children if you have them. It's scary that you can lose your job at a moment's notice just because somebody decides that they don't like what you're saying or what you're doing. And most recently, I went there again to ask them some questions about the contact tracing because I did some research and it turns out what they told me back then was false. That it was actually 15 minutes of consecutive, not consecutive time, 15 minutes total of contact with anybody with COVID-19 warrants you to be contact traced and sent home. When I went there, I was not only greeted with the gentleman that I spoke to last time, but also another gentleman, a regional director of loss prevention in charge of contact tracing. So, yeah, I did feel a little attacked. That was really quick, just to get some big head in there. And what he had told me was, it seems like they predicted what I was going to say before I even got there. Because the second I walked in, they told me, yes, there is a new policy for contact tracing, but that's only because the CDC just updated their policy. And I find that to be ridiculous because if you find, and even the gentleman that said this to me, the regional director of the loss prevention in charge of the contact tracing, said that when they were told that it was 15 consecutive minutes, he didn't agree with it. So if that's true, then why not say anything? Why not take that extra step instead of doing just the bare minimum to protect your associates? That makes no sense, and that is not right at all. I've known people that have COVID, have been to work, and everybody is too afraid to speak out about it at all. They literally tell associates not to tell other people if you tested positive for COVID, unless you feel the need that you definitely need to tell them. They are literally telling people not to tell them, not to tell your associates that you have COVID. The only way information passes in our facility, and Derek can speak to this, is that us associates tell each other. We communicate. There is no trust in leadership at all, and I told them that to their face. There's no trust. We don't believe you. When it comes to profit over safety, they will always choose profit.
You want to think about stopping? It's almost 2 hours.
Yeah, no, and I'm getting really
You know
cold.
what?
Oh, I'm cold too.
We're gonna have to go pretty
That
soon.
story motivated me to warm y'all up a little bit. So, I'm ready to chant something real quick. And what I love to do, I like to shut shit down. So if we don't get it, shut it down. 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 If we don't get it,
That's our cue.
if we don't get it, shut it down. Hold up, we don't get it.
Well, Charles, it was a
We can go that way.
yeah. It's very cold now. It's really
It's when you
dropping down.
when you stand there.
Yeah. The concrete transmits cold into your feet.
Right. I think it's fair to criticize the way Amazon has been run and the way in which Bezos has been able to acquire the outsized wealth and influence that he has. But I'm not a big fan of if we don't get it, shut it down approaches.
Right.
That's
I like his idea of a class action lawsuit.
right.
And it was interesting. Here we got more restaurants in the
Can I buy
enclosed.
you a nice cold beef?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you, Charles, it's interesting
have-
to see what's going on.
Yeah.
Whoa, holy cow. I thought they were enclosed, but they're just right straight out there in the freezing cold.
I'm just saying, I'll get you a nice. You can have some cold roast beef with cold mashed potatoes and cold
That's
corn
crazy.
at 5 times what it
Oh,
would
this
cost
is
you.
good. We can get a little street heat.
That's good. Maybe we should stand here for
Yeah,
a second.
let's conclude the.
Roll down there, maybe.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, perfect.
It's not right in.
Well,
their
here we go,
faces.
Charles. We could have a little conversation right here by the heat.
Yeah, you can get closer.
Sure.
So yeah, whoa, try not to knock it over on me. Anyway, yeah, I thought it was obviously a fair amount of planning went into that demonstration, and people began to gather at the end there. I think you need a lot more. That it's amazing to me, frankly, that Bernie Sanders and other people on the left aren't a lot more in Jeff Bezos' face than, and frankly, that opportunists on the right are doing the same thing, saying, you know, we do believe in building businesses, but we don't believe building businesses off the back of government, and they're basically doing that.
I think we need a lot more antitrust stuff going on between Amazon and Google and all these companies
Right.
that are controlling so much of what we buy and how we access everything. And we're seeing now
Right.
how we were just kind of lazy about it for a while, but they're taking hold.
Well, and they nearly got us in the first COVID thing. I mean, they were very close to, I think, saying cash is not safe.
Right.
And the second you do that, then you've got a concentration of power in the bank accounts, and then you've got the ability to cancel culture on social media. You move that to telecom, you move that to a bank account, and you're basically screwed.
Yeah.
You get fired. They say you can't use the bank or a credit card anymore. No, you can't buy anything because there's no cash. I mean, you could really change the balance of power quickly in favor even more of the unregulated globalist criminals if you wanted to. And God forbid what may happen should the buffoon, who is currently probably watching his laundromat watching his washer dryer, thinking he's watching the end of the 6 o'clock news. Why am I not on this?
That's the spin cycle, Joe.
Yeah, exactly. So now we're, this I think, Jason, you know this area better than I, this is filled with sort of fancier, new coming restaurants at one point.
Well, that was pretty recent. Like, I don't know about since the pandemic. I think a lot of them have, whoa, look at what they've done here to the Hill Country Barbecue.
That's what I'm bringing it up.
I'm telling you, this just reminds me of E.T., Charles. You put E.T. in that tent.
Right, you mean the very end?
Yeah, where they're like, you know, doing medical stuff to him.
Right.
God, it got really cold.
Yeah, well, I think that when you're not moving and when the temperature drops,
yeah,
your body, that's why I say it's so dangerous to sit outside and drink in the cold.
It's the opposite of boiling frog syndrome.
Right. And the other thing I'd point out is that if it's the case that being indoors is dangerous for the human being because COVID might spread indoors, explain to me how you cook indoors.
Right.
And the COVID just says, well, we're not going to go into the
food.
We're not going to, or the food handlers, we're just going to make, we don't do that. You know, just explain that to me.
That's my issue with the whole thing, is that none of the guidelines make any sense.
If
when
anything,
people tell me to do things that don't make sense, I don't listen to them.
If anything, what we should be doing, we've got this all ass over tea kettle backwards. What we should be doing is saying, all right, you government workers, okay, we can't fire you. There's going to be some small changes that we're going to make. You have to work outside.
Yes.
And you can't go into your office, it's too dangerous, but you have to work outside. And we'll let you work in these unheated places, unair-conditioned places if it's really hot. And we're not going to fire you, but you're just going to have to show up every day, and you're going to have to go inside this. And by the way, you can't use the bathrooms inside because there's a COVID risk.
I think they reneged that. They said you can use the bathroom now.
Well, that's what they said. I'm talking about what I'm saying.
Right.
I think you'd see very quickly a change in attitude.
We've got the light here, dude. This guy's on the bike trying to kill somebody.
Yep. You'd see a very quick change.
The broadcast cut.
Really? Just for that?
Well, I don't know, but we'll